All right, so here we are.
Hey.
Hey, so we're currently witnesses. We'll see how this goes. I'm currently we're sitting on the couch of some friends. They're actually some professors from the school that I've been attending, who have allowed us to stay in their house for a few days. Very kindly. It's been a huge blessing. We'll get into that more next week. But we're sitting on their couch right now. We just put the kids down to bed. They're on a date night, and we have Dreza's AirPods that we have connected to her phone, and so we're recording this into the Substack app.
Yep. Thank you, Mandy. Just want to say thank you, Mandy, for these AirPods.
Yeah. So
they're like 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah, we only have one pair of them, and so we're using them. And I have one in one ear, in my left ear, and Dreza has the other one in her right ear. So we'll see how this turns out. But yeah. We just are in the midst of a whole lot of transition right now. So this is our first mobile episode. So we're going for it, and you're getting to experience the kind of chaos with us. So if it sounds terrible, just sorry. But thanks for listening, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, so this last week was Thanksgiving.
Bethel got baptized the Sunday
before, and then we had the whole week of Thanksgiving, which was great. And I guess Monday I went to men's stuff. The men's group that I'm a part of. Came back, we recorded our podcast episode, packed up all the podcasting gear.
Yep.
And it's been packed away. And Monday and Tuesday we really spent a good portion of our time
kind of
packing, trying to get everything organized, getting rid of some things that we had kind of accumulated. Not big things, just little things that were like, oh, here's some clothes that the kids no longer can fit into.
Right, yeah.
That kind of thing. Trying to downsize as much as possible because we had to be out really by the first is what it ended up being. We were in communication with our landlord. She was we've been having financial difficulties, and then she also was trying to sell the house. That she just realized it was a better deal for her to sell the house, and so we've been kind of trying to figure all that out. And so but in light of our financial difficulties, we were also trying to figure out where we could move into.
Right.
And so that's where we had found the family that we were going to house sit for.
Right.
But they were not available. Like the house, they're not actually going on vacation
until this coming Sunday.
Until December 8th.
Right. So we're going to have a week basically where we were not going to be able to land anywhere.
And we were looking at different things. So part of our week was spent looking at other options for house sitting in potentially other cities or things like that. Over the Thanksgiving break.
Yeah. So I guess Monday and Tuesday was mostly packing and staging. Wednesday we had our friends. It was going to be Tom and Kelsey, and then their girls. Kelsey was not feeling well, so
it ended up just being Tom and the girls.
And they've been traveling the world for 2 years. They're from Australia, and so this was kind of like our, not really farewell, but more like they were going to be leaving town at the end of that week, and it was just we were just trying to get together with them one more time. And it was really nice to
the kids had fun and got to talk about Australia and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, it was really good. And then Thursday was Thanksgiving, and we were invited to some friends' house that we met at a fall fest that the school put on. And so that was a really great time. It was us and them, and then another couple, and then our kids. And so it was a small group, but it was so fun getting to know them. And then I guess that was Thursday. And then after that, it was kind of like, all right, we got to be out of the house by the end of the week. How do we do this?
How do we do it? And how do we move everything? Because we were moving into, for that 1 week, the family that we're house sitting for, they're from Canada. And so they're going back to Canada for a month. And they're really great. Our kids actually, Bethel in particular, they're in the same class. So I guess Ezra's in the same class.
Yeah, Ezra would be in the same class.
They'd be in the same class at church. And so they knew them, and that was really great. I think we might have already covered that some. last week. I don't have our notes from last week because we are
We
literally
going
mobile.
mobile.
This is a.
Let's see it. Is it
Is
still going?
It looks like it's still going. Okay, good.
Awesome.
Yeah, we are totally not. This is totally out of element. Anyway, so we what was I saying?
The kids being at a church together.
So we were the family that we're going to be house sitting for. They had an RV that they were they had said that we could move into
for that week. Yeah.
And so Friday and Saturday was actually spent beginning to kind of move things over to that RV. And we had actually not seen the RV until Friday.
Yep.
And so that was kind of a funny experience because we went over and I think we just didn't know what we were expecting because we had not actually asked any questions because when they offered, we didn't have any other options.
Yeah, and we'd been looking for a little bit, and we probably could have kept looking, but we just were like, all right, somebody offered, yes, great.
And we needed to be somewhere.
And they said that they had traveled in it for like 10 weeks, and probably other times too, but that they did 10 weeks with their 4 kids. And so I was like, if you can do it with your 4 kids, I can do it with my 3 kids for a week. Sure.
Yeah. And they had given us like lots of information, like the bathroom wasn't going to be functional because it didn't have the gray water, it didn't have the black water ready, and it was going to be small, and we knew all that. So when we got there, I think Dreza, just in taking it all in, was like, oh yeah, this is going to be tight.
Yeah.
Because it turned out that it was it wasn't that it was anything that they hadn't said. I just want to be clear about that. It was just we hadn't asked the questions, and we didn't really actually have any options or care all that much. We just needed something.
And also we were thinking it's just a week, and like if it's going to be on their property, that's great. Like we'll be moving into their house at the end of that week. Like it actually works out really nice.
And so we got there, and it was an RV. It was exactly what they had said, and it had like little pop-out windows, or not pop-out windows, pop-out things that kind of folded down, and the beds were actually really comfortable and everything, but it was just, I think, it's kind of like, I think it maybe more than anything, I think it settled into us what we were doing. Yeah,
and I think for me, which I don't know if this makes me kind of like bougie or anything, but a working toilet is an amazing thing. And while they were incredibly generous to let us go into their house anytime we needed to use the bathroom, they basically were just like, we'll leave the door unlocked, come and go as you please, which was so nice because, again, they have kids and they're doing their rhythm, and here they are letting us into their rhythm, kind of. I mean, not letting us into, but like we are kind of disrupting it in a sense, right? I was still just like, yeah, I still have to come into your house, though, to use the bathroom. And that was, I think, a big challenge for me. And so, anyway, you were going to
I was going to say. And so I think on Friday is when Dreza was like, I really wish that we had like another option. And you were praying about another option just for that week or just for a few days so that you wouldn't have to be in the RV for like a full week. Because once again, it was super generous of them, and they went out of their way. But I think it was just like, is there something else? Because this is going to be really tight for a full week. And so Friday we moved stuff in. Dreza was looking for stuff, and then Saturday we were actually planning on being in the RV, but our landlord texted and asked, could we go ahead and wash all the sheets and wash all the towels? Which we were planning on probably doing anyway.
We were just going to be more rushed.
But we were going to be more rushed. And so we just went ahead and said, yeah, we can do that. But if we could have like one more day we can get it all folded as opposed to just washing it. We can get it all folded and we can go ahead and clean the house, because then, as people are coming in, who the buyers or whatever, it'll just look nicer. And so that's what we agreed to. And so that gave us like another night. And so we went back over on Saturday, got to hang out with the family. We had dinner with them. And that was really great because we'd actually only hung out with them one time before.
When we met them.
I mean, that was only for like, an hour?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And so we hung out with them. and got to know them a little bit better. And they're a really awesome family, and we really do appreciate them and love them. And but we just told them, like, I think we're gonna move in some. I did not know that, but turns out that we were not actually supposed to leave our kids at church unattended.
Which I mean,
which makes
it makes
perfect
sense, right? Like, we're not like, ugh, how dare they babysit our kids.
Yeah. But the funny thing is that I wasn't really thinking about that at all.
Yeah.
So I went to go pick up the kids afterwards, and the teacher was like,
normally don't do
"Hey, Bethel said that you're moving, and like, were you like moving during church, or was that after?" And I was like, "Oh, both." And she was like, "Okay, we really can't have you do that, because if there's an emergency, there's like a liability for us." And I was like, that makes perfect sense. Totally get that.
Yeah.
But I was a little frustrated with Bethel. I was like, "Bethel, you are a snitch. And in our family, snitches do not get stitches. But you that really aggravates me." And so we had to have a little bit of a conversation where it's like, I don't want you to be deceptive, but I also don't want you to just give away information all the time.
I think you said as an oversharer, you like can understand.
Yeah.
And also she's 8, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's like,
she probably went in and she was like, "Yeah, my mom and dad are moving," so they just dropped us off
just like, you
nonchalantly.
don't even think about it.
Yeah. Because she loves her teachers and she loves talking
She's
to
just
people. And
sharing all her business, right?
Ezra was playing. I know it wasn't Ezra.
Nope.
He would not say anything.
He probably already,
he probably forgot.
He had forgotten
that we dropped him off. And so we picked the kids up after church and kind of walked through slight frustrations with Bethel. Not anything major, just kind of like, because on one hand, it's like I'm really proud of her for just being honest.
Yeah.
Like, I never want her to be deceptive.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even something that I was trying to be deceptive.
No.
It was more one of those things where I didn't know if it was okay or not, and I wasn't going to ask.
That's hard. I didn't know, so
whoops. So
it's better to ask forgiveness
than permission. But now that I know, I can't do it again.
Nope. And that's not something we would do.
Yeah. And I'm sure they've had problems with that in the past. I'm sure that they've had so many people just drop kids off and then just go have breakfast or something. But it's good to know we're supposed to be on premises when we drop them off.
We will be doing that from now on. So you picked them up from church.
Yeah. And then we finished all the cleaning. We got finished at about 1:30 or so. About 1:30.
Yeah, I ended up.
And then dropped the keys off with
the property manager
for the landlord. And then we made that house nice and clean.
Oh yeah, it was spotless. It was pretty
great.
Proud.
Yeah, we felt really good about it. We were really just trying to honor our landlord and make sure that we were doing right by her as much as possible. And
then afterwards,
that was our first night
in the RV. Yeah, that's right. And then,
which was a learning experience, because, well, first off, we went to a Christmas tree lighting service. That was the other thing, is we actually went to a Christmas tree lighting service that night.
Well, we went to the RV first, though.
We went to the RV, and then
kind of got settled.
Got a little settled, figured out where people were sleeping.
Yeah, because Dan had just moved a bunch of stuff into the RV, and his goal was like, just get it in there. And then I got there and I was like, oh, this is not going to be functional, which he knew. Yeah. And so once we were both there, we could both be like, okay, what needs to go into their storage shed? What can we put on one side? And like, just make it more functional for a week. And then I guess Selah took a nap, didn't she?
I think she took a brief nap.
And then we went to the tree light service at church, and that was really beautiful.
It was. Yeah, and did a candlelight service, and it was really great. And the kids, actually, our friends from Australia were there too.
So we got to say bye to them because they're really
officially,
the next
like
day.
all of them. And yeah, it was good. And then that night, we went and slept for the first time in the RV, which was I'm really proud of our kids. Yeah, I'm really proud of our kids. I think moving out of a really comfortable house into the RV was a challenge for
Mhm.
them. In talking with Bethel, like over the last few days, she said it was really challenging, but I was trying to have a really good attitude about it.
Yeah, you couldn't have you
You
couldn't
couldn't have
tell
told.
that
Yeah.
she was having a hard time. She was like,
She was finding like the good things in it.
she's like, I get to sleep in a sleeping bag. It's
Yeah.
pink and
Yeah.
purple. My favorite color. I mean, she like I was having a hard time internally, and I'm watching my child just having a great time. I'm like, man, maybe I'm just having a bad attitude because
Yeah.
she's thinking this is amazing.
Yeah, she's like, we're having an adventure, and Ezra's like, yeah, and I get to be here, and the RV is actually parked at the family's house, their rent house, and so we are like a stone's like 50 yards away from the front door, and so they have 4 kids that are close to the kids' age, and so our kids were enjoying being able to hop out of the RV and play with them some on Saturday and stuff, and so there was a lot of excitement around
You're
the
gonna
idea.
be here
You're
for
going
a
to be here
week.
for a week, and they were excited, and they were like, one of the daughters crochets, and so Bethel was crocheting, and the boy has Legos, and is a little older than Ezra, and they were just having a great time, and so there was a lot of stuff, but I think was Sunday night was really good. It got the heater in the RV worked really well, which was great.
Yeah,
because it was down in the 30s. The issue was that I did not put enough blankets on us.
Yeah.
And there's like a curtain that went into the sections to kind of section off into the sleeping bedrooms.
Right.
And I should have left those open.
Right, so that the heat could flow in there.
And so Dreza was a little chilly.
Yeah, I definitely was.
And Bethel and Ezra told me the next morning that they were chilly, and so it was like, okay, this is a good learning thing. And so yeah, that was our week, our first night. And that was our week.
Yeah.
Up through Sunday. So if you want to know how we got into this other house, you have to listen to next week's podcast. And it may be even the same quality, or it may be better quality, or
who knows?
Who knows? We don't know. But yeah, it was. I think what I would say is that I can just see where God is just still like that. That sounds kind of like, wow, y'all are like, you're living in an RV that you didn't really want to, like, maybe not didn't want to live in, but it was like, these are less than ideal circumstances, right? But I think what was so cool for us is, a week before we didn't know where we were going to be,
Right.
And we didn't know what we were going to be doing. And to find this other family who is really, they're the type of people that we love hanging out with. Like, they're just really chill, really awesome, very giving, and very, very generous, and very chill, and they're just a lovely family. And I just really appreciated their heart. And I think one of the things that I've been walking through and kind of wrestling through has been, I'm really good at giving. I'm not super good at receiving.
Yeah.
I have a hard time receiving and putting other people at like where I feel like I'm
letting other people serve you.
Yeah, maybe just inconveniencing other people.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's like where it feels like I'm inconveniencing you, or I'm doing things that make your life a little harder. Like, I feel really badly about that. Like, I don't want people to inconvenience themselves on my behalf. And I think that's maybe a little bit of what the Lord is just allowing us to walk through. Maybe I just need to get over that so you guys will be okay. Yeah, Than. Get it together, Than.
Seriously.
So that we can all not have to live like this. Learn to receive. But that's actually something the Holy Spirit's been talking to me about, is just the idea of being able to be a person who receives. Because it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. but there's a part of like people can't give if there isn't somebody to receive, you know. And it reminds me of when I think it's in the Old Testament. I know it's in the Old Testament, but I think it's in Leviticus. Maybe God talks about how there's always going to be poor among you, so that you have the opportunity to demonstrate my goodness. And I don't think that we're going to necessarily be quote unquote impoverished for the rest of our life. I think there's some really good things that the Lord has in store for us that He's told us. We had a lot of encouraging words in that direction, but I think just realizing sometimes those situations where there's somebody in need is an opportunity for generosity.
Yeah. And I think some of us experiencing this difficulty is also a great reminder for how to be generous, right? And how to, especially for our kids, right? Like, they maybe don't know the extent of the difficulty we're going through because we've just protected them from that. But the little bit that we've shared, it's just encouraging to know, at least for them to experience that, and for them to know, like, yeah, there are people that are in need, and that we need to not just be focusing on receiving, because kids don't have a hard time receiving.
They do not have
Ezra's been like, I love December. I can't wait to get. I mean, it's just like always at the forefront of his mind. Every month is a receiving kind of month for him. No issues, but to also be in a place of giving. And sometimes you don't realize certain things until you experience that yourself. And so I think it's good.
And I even think for our kids in that respect is like them getting to watch somebody else do something, and it's almost like these are tangible things for Bethel and Ezra, where like them getting to see somebody once again like helping out, is really great,
right?
And something that we can go back to and be like, remember that time that somebody took care of us? Like, this is an opportunity for whenever you get inconvenienced, it's like, remember, this is something that happened for us, and we want to not just pass it forward because somebody else did it, but that same heart we want to have. And I think that's something that we've tried to do in the past, with as much as possible whenever we have had things, is to share them. But I think it was just more encouraging of like, oh yeah, that's like how meaningful that can be to somebody.
Right.
I think sometimes when you're the giver, you don't realize how meaningful that is to someone.
Right. Yeah.
Especially maybe if you've never been in that hard of a situation before, where there's a lot of I would say potentially shame or self like doubt, or like, where did I go wrong in those things. And so it's been good.
Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up, but it's been an interesting journey, and
definitely has been an adventure.
It's been an adventure, as Bethel said. And Frodo getting to Mount Doom was an adventure too, and he had to face Gollum and nasty spiders and orcs and all kinds of disgusting things, and I don't want to face those. Our adventure is different, and the Lord is doing something, and there's some prophetic words that we've had about Him leading us in different ways, and that He's bringing us into something, but we don't. It's kind of all over the place until we get there, and so we feel that, but we're also in this season. I think you would agree with me that we're finding levels of peace and joy that we didn't know were even possible in the midst of things. It's like, wow, you can have peace in the midst of all this uncertainty. I mean, I knew that,
but to be living in it,
it's like a new level.
Yeah, it's like, wow, you can actually.
You can just choose peace. Yeah. And you can just choose to trust that God's got something for you. And then
day is, sometimes it's not even an everyday thing. It's like an hour by hour, minute by minute. It's like, I was doing really great, and then
something came in that just blindsided me.
Yeah, I was doing really great until I had to make dinner in an RV, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the heck,
Yeah.
like.
And my kids are like screaming, and Than's bumping his head on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Because I was literally bumping my head.
Yeah.
On the ceiling.
And
I smacked my head so many times on those lights.
Basically touching the ceiling. Yeah.
No, I mean, I like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually have little wounds I found on my head from like hitting
Oh my goodness.
those lights where I was bleeding.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hitting those lights pretty hard. I was like, dang, it's going to be a long week. I think on Monday I was like, wow, you literally cannot avoid that light.
Yeah.
So you were looking for your hat so that you can your hat.
So I could wear my hat so that whenever I hit it, it didn't hurt quite as bad.
Wow. Yeah. So you could have joy, and then the next second have all these tiny things happen, these like little annoyances, and have to like really choose joy in the midst of that and fight for it, because it's so easy to kind of let those annoyances grow bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden you forget to be thankful. And it's like, yeah, I still have shelter, and I still have food, and I actually have heat, and I have access to a working toilet. It's not that I don't have a toilet.
Yeah.
I do have a toilet. The one in the RV is not working, but I literally can walk 5 to 10 steps, and I have a working toilet any time of the day.
And the people that I'm with are not antagonistic or mean or anything like that. They're not begrudging.
Nope.
They're
not looking at me weird when I come into their house to use the bathroom, like nothing. It's like,
yeah, they're super kind.
It's just inconvenient. It's like a small inconvenience, right?
Yeah. And then our kids are happy.
Yep.
Like our kids were actually joyful and happy in the midst of it all.
Yep.
And Sayla was kind of like, what in the world is this? But she was kind of looking around inside like, this didn't look like what I'm used to. But the kids were both really good. And I think that was also really helpful too, is like seeing the things that we've kind of instilled in them in thankfulness and finding the good in things and finding joy. Like watching that play out was really, in some ways, that was a treasure to kind of unearth.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, yeah. But I think that's probably it for now.
Yeah.
But thanks for listening. We'll keep you updated. We'll let you know about all the other fun developments that have happened over this week that we're currently in right now. And just stay tuned.